My name is Fire Fury.
What is going on, everybody? Welcome to Fuel Your Drive. I'm your host, Josh York. Guys, before we get started, remember, please share, leave a review, like this. Please, I want to continue to keep growing the podcast. I really appreciate you guys listening, and I really appreciate you sharing it and giving me some reviews. All right, so today's topic is, why is my business not successful? Why is my life not successful? Why am I not successful on a personal level? The answer is very simple. I could probably confidently say 99% of you are not succeeding at those three things because you lack consistency, okay? In business, your business is not growing. Well, you need to do a lot less thinking and more doing. Sometimes you think so much, and the whole analysis by paralysis thing, that's going to kill you, and you're going to end up literally not succeeding at anything because you're spending too much time thinking. You need to take action. You need to get out there. You need to be consistent. Is every decision you make going to be right? No. But you need to learn from those mistakes. You need to make sure you're not doing them again. Making a mistake once is okay. Making it twice is not okay, because you have to learn your lesson and learn the reason why you made that mistake and fix it. But look, it's about routines. And I talk about this a lot. Actually, I talk about it obsessively, to like an obsessive level. I talk about this. You need routines, and those routines need to be consistent every single day. So for example, your fitness routine needs to be consistent. You need to be exercising, you need to be working out. I talk about that all the time as well, because that's going to, create a superhuman version of yourself. And that's very important, because that's going to, make you operate at a higher level. That's number one. Number two, you have to do the same things over and over and over again in business. When I hear people complaining that their businesses are not succeeding, and then they're telling me that they're going out, hanging out with their friends, or, doing something with their family on the weekend when their business is dying, that's a problem. Because someone like me is going to eat your meal every single time, because I'm always putting in the work. I'm always taking action. And do I make all the right mistakes? Do I make all the right decisions? No, I make a lot of mistakes. I make many mistakes, but I don't sit there and get upset and go, oh my God, what did I do? I make the mistake. I see why I made the mistake, make sure I never make the mistake again, and move forward. I've talked about this in the past, and I'm going to say it again because I haven't really said this in a while, is you got to develop a problem with your neck, right? And that problem is you never could turn it back, because too many people continue to keep looking back and asking questions like, why this didn't work? Why? Or, my favorite is when someone says to me, oh, I tried it one time and it didn't work. You can try it 50 times before it works. So let me give you a simple example, taking you back to the early days of GYMGUYZ. I had a routine every single day. I would get up at the same time every single day, regardless of how I felt. If I was tired, keep in mind, I've said this before, I've never taken a sick day in my life. And I would literally start out in the morning building relationships. I'd be going to pretty much businesses, places in the community that are very busy, with prominent business owners who I can build relationships with, that can open up more doors for me. And I did that over and over. I'm talking months. Some places I've done for years. Then after I did that for a certain amount of hours, I would go out and I literally put together flyers that looks like a 5-year-old child put together on Microsoft Word. And I was printing out probably 500-600 of them a day. I was printing them out on my one-page printer back in the day. Okay. Until I got smarter and be like, you know what, I can go to like one of these copy places and just make copies. But there was a mistake right there I made, and you say like, wow, that sounds like a pretty stupid mistake. Yeah, it is really stupid. I wasn't thinking. I was just like, you know what, I'm here. Let me, print them overnight to save me some time. I don't have to go to the store. But then I started printing them in thousands. But I would go out. I would usually put out 500 to 600 a day, 7 days a week. I never took a day off, ever. I'll never forget. I didn't know back in the days that you're not allowed to dump, at least here in New York, you're not allowed to put flyers in people's mailboxes because it's illegal. And there was one mailman who I couldn't even believe did this. After all that hard work, he literally went to every house and pulled out every single flyer. The post office called me up and said to me that they're going to be fining me a couple $1,000. And long story short, I got out of it and I apologized and I didn't do that again. I came up with another creative idea, but let me give you an example right here. Hold on, I need to take a sip of water. So This is very important to understand. When you come into a roadblock, because you will come into many roadblocks, there's always a workaround. But are you going to be smart enough, savvy enough to be able to figure out what that workaround is? So in that example of, me going to people's mailboxes and dropping that off without postage on it, and I couldn't do it, most people at that point would say, all right, well, you know what? This is not going to work. I can't do this anymore. That sucks. No, think of a solution. What I decided to do was I got newspaper bags, got them online, very, very cheap. I think I got like 10,000 of them. And I took those flyers, I put them in each plastic, newspaper holder. Then I went to the mason yard and I got I think it was like 150 pounds of rocks. I put a rock in every bag. I had a milk crate that I got from one of my friends who owned a deli, and I would just throw them in a milk crate, and I literally put them in my van, and I would drive all over the place, literally all over the place, like I was doing with the flyers, as if I was delivering newspapers, throwing them on driveways. Obviously, the rocks were so it doesn't blow away if it's windy. And I was doing that instead every single day. Don't make excuses, figure out solutions, and take action. I could sit here for hours telling you stories of every single thing that I've done, but that was something I did to fix that solution. And then I would do that every day for a certain amount of hours, so between the hours, usually it was like from 3:30 a.m. And this is before I started training clients, because I had to build up my clientele. As I started getting clients, my schedule started changing, but I would go from like 3 a.m. to 5 a.m. building relationships. Okay. I was going to mostly these early morning delis and coffee shops, and that's where I was spending a lot of time. Then, from that time after, for another 2-3 hours, I was literally hitting up the driveways, right? I wanted people to, literally between the hours of like 5 and 7 or 5 and 8, come out, grab their newspaper. That was during times when newspapers were still being thrown on driveways, not so much anymore, but for those who were getting digital copies, they were still seeing it on their driveway. And then for the next couple hours, I would just make calls. Okay. So for like 2 hours, I'd make calls. I wouldn't book an appointment. I wouldn't do anything. And I would continue this over and over and over and over, 7 days a week. I did that for almost a decade. I kid you not. Okay. That is the type of discipline you need to move the needle to become successful. Okay. When we talk about why you're not succeeding in personal life, the same things I just talked about apply in your personal life. You're not being consistent with your dieting. You're not being consistent with taking in enough water. You're not being consistent with exercising. Same rules apply in your relationship, right? People get very comfortable in a relationship. Let's say they don't want to do the extra things, right? They don't want to, go above and beyond for their partner. They don't want to, make an extra step to pick up something nice or write a note every morning, or when it comes to my kids, for example, I'll give you an example of my children. We're talking about partners or families. I do things that probably 99% of parents won't do because they're lazy and they don't want to do them. And I don't even need to share all those things I do. But the point is that if you want to be the best and you think you're the best, you got to be willing to push through when you don't want to do it. Like I leave my kids' notes every single morning. Like that's one little thing I do every single morning. I've never missed a day. I leave very, very early. So I want to make sure that, they have a good day, and I tell them how much I love them and so on and so forth. But I do that every single day. Same rules apply. Guys, take some nuggets away from this short episode, apply them, start being more consistent. And when things are not going well, what do you say? You say, this too shall pass. It's quite simple. If you don't quit, you will eventually win. My favorite quote is from Albert Einstein. And the quote is, genius is those who stay with their problems longer. Guys, until next time, fuel your drive. Take care.
Legend. Do you know my name? My name is Legend.